Hey everyone, welcome to episode 1 of the RunDot podcast. The mission of our show is to coach you with every conversation. We have run coaches from all around the world using RunDot to coach their athletes, and so each episode will bring on 1 or 2 coaches to teach us all about run training, run racing, nutrition, strength training, run gear, or sometimes even a run lifestyle topic. My name is Andrew Harley, and I am the producer for the show. On today's welcome episode, I'll introduce you to our host, Carrie Tollefson. Carrie is an Olympian, she's a broadcaster, and she's a podcaster who is super passionate about the sport of running and the run community. For this launch episode, she and I will talk about her professional racing and broadcast career, and we'll talk about her podcast, See Tolly Run. And actually, this episode is going to go out to both the RunDot podcast audience and the athletes who listen to See Tolly Run. It's a crossover episode of sorts. So listen in, get to know Carrie, get to know RunDot, and hit subscribe so that you catch all the future run coaching from our show. So without further ado, let's get the RunDot podcast officially rolling. Over to you, Carrie.
Today in the show, I have my new producer and editor, Andrew Harley. Yes, someone new is editing. Hi, Andrew. We don't have Tim Bornholt editing anymore, but he is in our back pocket all the time. I know, we love Tim. He has been with me since we started See Tolly Run. Tim has 2 kiddos at home and his wife, and he's busy as an app developer. So we know he's going to take us in his ears every Thursday and maybe every Tuesday with RunDot. So big shout out to Tim. Love you, man. Andrew is now taking over, and he is producing and editing See Tolly Run and RunDot. So we want to welcome you to the show. Thanks for coming on the show, Andrew.
Yeah, happy to be here. Happy to be podcasting with you, Carrie. It's always great talking to you, and the work you and Tim have done over the years on See Tolly Run. Just huge shout out to Tim. He's been so helpful for me as I get caught up to speed on editing your show and producing your show. Tim is an excellent artist, and I'm happy to just be to carry the mantle, carry the torch that much farther with you, Carrie. I'm sure I'm absorbing a lot of the text messages that you used to send to Tim are now going to me, but. Tim was great, and the show was great. When I first started learning your show, just to kind of take over as producer, and I was going back and listening to old episodes. I mean, the quality of the work, both you as the host and Tim as the producer editor, just a great show. And I've enjoyed every episode I've listened to, and I'm excited to bring more See Tolly Run to the See Tolly Run audience, and excited to start a RunDot podcast. And Carrie, you mentioned today's a crossover episode, so we have our RunDot audience listening. We have our See Tolly Run audience listening. It reminds me, I was born in 1988, Carrie. I'm a 90s kid. And when I was a kid, I still remember when the Flintstones and the Jetsons did a crossover cartoon episode, right?
Oh.
And they were both on this. And as a kid, it blew my mind to have these 2 cartoons that I watched separately be on the screen together at the same time. And that's kind of what we're doing today. We have our See Tolly Run family and our RunDot family joined together to listen to Carrie. So lots of exciting things today, and Carrie, I'm excited to get after it.
I know, you said it. Let's get after it. Yeah, I know. It's going to be really fun. I mean, I love what you do at TriDot and now at RunDot, and I think that just the audiences are going to hear 2 different podcasts, hopefully every week, right? And we're just excited to bring some great content in their ears or on their screen. So thank you for all the hard work you've been doing, even with sort of rebranding and doing things. So it's going to be fun.
You say hopefully every week, like you doubt
Well,
our
I don't
workflow.
doubt you. I'm like, oh, okay, here we go. It's going to be wild, but it's going to be fun. So I want to hear a little bit more about you, Andrew, though. Like, you are not, those that listen to me know I've just been a runner forever. So I want to hear a little bit about your background before we get into some other things.
Yeah, sure. So I was a runner before I was a triathlete, and I'm wearing my RunDot hat today. But I work for Predictive Fitness, which is the parent company behind TriDot and RunDot. And I am a triathlete that was training with TriDot for years and years and years. And I knew the CEO because the CEO lived in the same town as me. We actually coached youth and junior triathlete programs at the same pool in South Lake, Texas. And so anyway, I got hired by the company to produce a podcast and produce some videos for TriDot. And TriDot has been on the market for years and years and years, helping triathletes train for anything from sprint triathlons to Ironman triathlons. And so I launched a podcast for TriDot. I'm the host of the TriDot podcast. I ramble on that podcast just like I'm already rambling right now on this podcast. Um, but yeah, so I was a television producer. I went to college, got a broadcasting degree, and worked in television in the Dallas Fort Worth area for a long time. And to marry my profession, which is media, right, video production, with the sport of triathlon and running, it's the dream job. Like I just get to
Uh,
sit at home and make running and triathlon content full time for a living. So it's super exciting to be doing that full time. And now with RunDot, we'll be doing that with the RunDot podcast and with See Tally Run.
so I do have a question though, because I have been like firing texts and and emails at you like crazy.
Yeah.
When you were coming at me like, let's do this. Let's have both See Tally Run keep going, and let's get this Run Dot podcast. And just for lack of a better term, like they call us on air hosts or on
Yeah.
air talent, the talent. I always think that's such a silly word, but when now that you aren't on air or doing anything like that, I mean, you're on air for TriDot, but I mean, like you are sort of behind the scenes with me at See Tally Run. Like, are you like, oh, this talent is crazy? Like I take my running background and bring it to my other work, and it's still as intense and still as passionate. So do you kind of like feel that already? It carries a little intense.
Not at all. And
Okay, good.
I can tell you, 6 years in working in live television. You're right. We had a live show
Yeah.
Monday through Friday for 1 hour. We were live every day of the week. And the hosts we had, the on-air talent we had, some talent is more talented than others. And so I have worked with everything from, oh man, this on-air talent is pretty rough, to this on-air talent
Okay.
is cream of the crop. I've worked with everything. And Carrie, you are fantastic.
Oh.
You are a pleasure to work with. And one of the other things with
Mhm.
media too, like just in terms of getting texts from your talents and your production help at all hours. I mean, production is it's an unconventional work schedule, right? Like
Sure.
you might have a podcast recording at 9 o'clock at night because the coach you're talking
Mhm.
to is in Australia and that's their daytime. And so that's when you're working, isn't it? And so yeah, we're firing text around the clock all through the day. And that's just production life, Carrie. It's production life. But you are a wonderful talent to work with so far. So
Well, it's been new, so you might get a little,
far.
you might get a little annoyed after a while. But what do you think is, different about Run Dot and See Tally Run? What can, the audiences like expect?
Yeah, fantastic question. I'm really excited about this. Like this, we launched the Tried Out podcast 6 years ago. We're on episode at the time we're recording this. I think episode 314 just launched. So once a week for 6 years gets you to 314 episodes. And when we launched the Tried Out podcast, at that time there wasn't a lot of triathlon podcasts. There was like two or three, and
Mhm.
most of them were like interviewing professionals and just kind of like you're kind of hearing their perspective on and their experience in the sport. No one was out there coaching athletes through a podcast. And so with TriDot, like training athletes for races, having coaches on staff helping train athletes for races, our core competency is educating athletes and helping them train
Mhm.
smarter, be better, show up to race day more prepared. And so when we launched it, that was the goal of the TriDot podcast, was to get coaches on microphones teaching triathletes how to be better triathletes. And I actually, Carrie, just to take a step back, I'm the host of the show. When I first pitched the idea to our CEO to launch this podcast, I did not envision myself hosting. I was just going to produce it and be in the background and do my thing. I'm plenty comfortable on a microphone, but I'm not
Sure.
looking for that spotlight. That's not my personality. And
I
I just
am.
yeah, I just envisioned coaches on microphones talking shop and us as average athletes learning from it. And in the discussions about the show, it kind of just turned into, well, it needs a host, and okay, well,
Mm.
Andrew can do it because he's comfortable on a microphone, clearly. Um, and so for the RunDot podcast, that's what we want to replicate. Now that RunDot is out there and we have thousands of runners already running with RunDot, we want to give runners a podcast they can go listen to where they hear coaches coaching them in the sport.
Yeah.
And not just coaches sharing their perspective, coaches putting their twist. Like like fact-based, evidence-based, research-based, big data-based. This is what successful runners are doing and how you should do your training. And so
Mm.
that's what we'll do through the RunDot podcast. And then with CTolly Run, what you do on CTolly Run is you sit down with the personalities of the sport and have meaningful
Mhm.
conversations. And Carrie,
Yep.
and I've told you this behind the scenes, Carrie, but I'll say it to all of our listeners as well. There's a lot of shows that do that, but what's special to me about CTolly Run is you're not interviewing these big time runners as like a far away interviewer that's getting to know the person. You already know these people because you're their peer. You are neck
Mm.
deep in a sport right alongside these athletes and coaches you bring on. And so when I listen to a C Tolly Run episode, when I am producing it behind the scenes and watching you talk to somebody, like you're talking to them peer to peer. There's already an established relationship. There's already an established trust between the host and the guest. And so you get a lot more meaningful content out of it, a lot more meaning in the conversation that another interviewer might get because of how well you already know the person, how much they trust you and want to
Mhm.
open up to you. So anyway, long story short, we want the everybody listening to us, right, which is our C Tolly Run audience and our Run Athlete audience. We want all of you to listen to See Tolly Run, to get meaningful conversations, to connect into the sport, to hear different experiences from different people, pros, coaches, race producers, with Carrie hosting. And we want you to come to the RunDot podcast to learn how to be a smarter runner, a better runner, to grow as an athlete in the sport. And on both shows, you get to have Carrie as your spirit guide, guiding you in your running
Just what they
experience.
want,
Just what
just
they
more
want.
of
More
this.
Carrie.
I wore my UFTA shirt today because I know everyone's gonna really get a lot of this, Minnesota accent if they tune in.
Yeah.
But I was teasing when I said I like the spotlight, but I guess I kinda do in a way that I think that you're right. Like, we're gonna bring 2 different podcasts, but I think what I've really enjoyed in this new role, and it's been a long time, like, let's face it, I haven't been racing in a long time. But I think what I love about it is you're right, like, I get to talk to these athletes and be more like even with the guys, I feel like I'm a big sister at times
Yeah.
or, somebody that can sort of connect people in a different way and maybe even the I loved, studying psychiatry and sociology and things like that. Like maybe using that part of me and being able to bring people together with their sport in a different way. So yeah, I mean, I joke about liking the spotlight, and I guess I shouldn't joke about it. I don't mind being on stage or with a camera on, but I really what I enjoy the most about being a podcast host is being able to have these great conversations with people and learning more about them than just the fact that they can run fast in circles or that they can coach really well.
Yeah.
At
Yeah.
RunDot, we're going to hear a lot from coaches, but I want to know like more about these coaches. Like, who are you? Why do you want to coach people all the time? Like, there's a lot of complaining that goes into coaching. Why do you want to do that? Or there's a lot of trying to figure out the best way to motivate someone. That is a hard job. So it's going to be fun. I'm super excited about it.
It's funny, Carrie, when you're a podcast editor, after you do the interview and you bring the media in, it's all on the timeline. You can see in the audio waveform how much everybody talked, right? Because you can see the waveform right there. And
Yeah.
and one thing I try to do on the Try Out podcast that you do, frankly, better than I do on See Tolly Run, is because you care about the guest and because okay, you're fine in the spotlight, you like the spotlight, but you're not there to talk over the other person, right? There
Mm.
are definitely hosts of shows out there that when you pull their audio in, they talked way more than their guest. And it's like, well, who is this podcast for? Like, why was the guest even there if you wanted to talk that much? You do such a great job of lobbing up the question as a host and then getting out of the way for the guest to shine and the guest to be the one that the person the audience member gets to know. And so your audio waveform, it's little blips, right? Every couple of minutes. And then the guest talks for minutes at a time. And on the Try That podcast, I try to do the same thing. I try to lob up a question to our coaches. They're the ones with the expertise, not me. I'm an average athlete. I am an average Joe athlete asking questions an average Joe athlete would have. And so I want to lob up a question and then get out of the way for the coaches to share their
Sure.
knowledge. And you do that so well on your show.
Mm.
And not that you don't share your own stories and add in your
Yeah.
own anecdotes, because people do care who you are and want to know who you are. But anyway, for RunDot, like when we were like, okay, it's the training is out there. We already have runners using the app. They're already doing races and having a great experience. We need to launch a RunDot podcast for our running
Mhm.
audience. And when we started those conversations, it was okay. Well, who hosts it? Andrew's
Mhm.
hosting the Try Out podcast, and I could step in and host the Run Dot podcast. I
I
was a
hope you
runner
do.
before. I'll
I hope
be
you
on.
come on and
I'll pop
co-host.
on.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll
Okay.
pop on when it's appropriate for me to pop on. But it was important to me that the person in that seat just be neck deep in running culture, because there's a lot of similarities between triathletes and runners, but there's a lot of differences between triathletes
Sure.
and runners. And I was like, the run is my favorite part of triathlon. It's my strongest discipline of the three, but
Mhm.
I am a triathlete first and a runner second. It's just
Okay.
and a tennis player third. It's just true. And so we wanted somebody hosting this show, guiding our runners in the sport of running, in their running experience, who is just neck deep in running culture, who has a
Mm.
passion for running more than they have a passion for any other sport. And when we got connected with you, Carrie, and you and I started having conversations, and I started listening to the way you interview people, you're very kind. You are very you put your guests in a great position, right? Like you are for the guest. And your passion for the sport shows, your passion for the people you're talking to shows, and we were like, "Man, this is definitely somebody that we wanna have in this seat." And so we're very excited to work with you, Carrie. When you first started talking with us and started learning about RunDot, what made you excited to work with us?
Well, I think first and foremost, to be honest, I heard that Meb was working with you, Meb
Yeah, he
Keflezighi, and
is. Yeah, he is.
yeah,
Love Meb.
and he's been a coach with RunDot, and so I was like, "Oh, if Meb and Howie, his brother, who's his manager and agent, um, if they trust this company, well, yeah." I mean, I definitely wanted to hear all about it. So I had Jeff, the owner of the company, come on, Jeff Boer, um and Meb come on See Tally Run a couple years ago, I think, when Meb signed on.
Yeah.
And we chatted about it. So if you want to listen to that podcast, go check that out at See Tally Run. But yeah, it was cool. I mean, AI to me is still very different. And, I am an old school runner. So I think it was just kind of that intrigue of how do you mesh AI and coaching and being an athlete and getting training plans and doing all that. I think that was, intriguing, but also just that you have one of the biggest names in, well, US history, if not the running history in itself. And I think that to me was really cool and exciting to know that I could be a part of something that is growing.
Yeah, and I know for you too, you voiced this to me, separately, but you just want people to have a good experience in the sport, right? Whether they
Oh,
are
for
going out
sure.
and walking a 5K, and or whether they're going out and crushing a 2:48 marathon and qualifying for Boston. Like you want people
Yeah.
healthy, enjoying the sport from all walks of life, balancing the sport,
Yeah.
with their life, and that's what we specialize in at RunDot. So, in all of our RunDot podcasts, just for our RunDot audience, I want to let you guys know this. Um, we arrange our podcast a little differently from See Tolly Run. So today you heard the See Tolly Run intro music. You're seeing See Tolly Run
Yeah.
branding on the screen in some spots. Starting next week, it'll be all Run Dot branding, Run Dot music, Run Dot everything. And the way we do the show is Carrie will welcome you very quickly. We'll introduce who the guest is. We'll introduce what the topic is, and we just as our shtick, as our clever little shtick, we like to arrange the show like a workout. And so when you do a proper run workout, you start with a warm up. You got to get warmed
Yep.
up. Then you have your main set where you're really growing and putting in the hard work, and you have your cool down. And so our
Mhm.
version of that for our podcast is the warm up is just a fun, lighthearted, run oriented warm up question. So we might ask something like, of all the running shoes on the market today, what do you think is the best looking shoe?
Oh, well, I mean, always three stripes for me.
Yeah, and theirs, yeah, I love the colors on theirs. They've got that like lime green one out right now.
Oh
It's like
yeah.
lime green with
Yeah.
black stripes. Great looking. I think on
Yep.
on running shoes always look
They are
fantastic.
nice. Yeah. They
They're
are
not my
nice. I
favorite to
love a
run
New
in.
Balance shoe, to be honest, too. Like,
Yep,
my
yep.
good friend and old training partner, Katie McGregor, is a New Balance rep, and she's crushing it. But I do they are, they are like a staple. But then there's pretty Asics and, I'm not a Nike gal, but I do like some of the swoosh stuff. So, all kinds of great brands out there, but I'm a three-stripe gal.
Yeah. So we'll always start. See, we're already getting sidetracked with this question because the world questions are always so fun.
Sorry.
Uh, what's difficult, Carrie, on the Try Out podcast is coming up with a new funny question every week for 314 episodes. But we've got it down. So we'll start with a fun warm up question. We'll move into our main set, and we spend 3-4 minutes on that. Like we don't go long, and the bulk of the episode is the main set where we talk about the primary topic, right? And so it might be
Mhm.
one of the ones, Carrie, we've already recorded is how to build a proper shoe rotation. And so you talked
Yeah,
to Coach
it's a
Brady
good
Hoover
one.
for 45 minutes about what to look for in a shoe rotation as a runner to keep your foot healthy.
Mhm.
You know, what
Mhm.
shoes do you pair with different runs? And then we kind of tack on a fun 2, 3, 4 minute cool down. You know, cool down is a quick part of a workout, but an important part of the workout. And in the cool down of the RunDot podcast, we're going to ask a different question from the audience every single week to our coach so that we're hearing from you guys on what you want to know and what you want to learn about. So a little different from Seats Holly Run, where Carrie,
Yeah,
you've got your
I go
flow.
all over the place.
Yeah. But in a great way. And then you wrap it up with some rapid fire, which is always fun.
Yeah, I feel like at Sea Tally Run, you don't know what you're gonna get, but that's just kinda like the run. And so,
It's so
right
true.
away, we were like, "We might take you out on a run, actually. We might,
Yeah.
be in a city getting post-race interviews." We don't know what we're doing, but
Yeah.
we're just having fun and getting after it.
Yeah. Meaningful conversations every single week. So Carrie,
Yep.
for our RunDot audience,
Mhm.
we've talked a little bit about the different shows and what we're trying to do with them. And for the record, for anybody who's like, my brain is broken, what is happening? Is this a See Tally Run podcast or is this a RunDot podcast? Um, 99% of the time, See Tally Run will be See Tally Run. RunDot will be
Uh-huh.
RunDot. TriDot will be TriDot. Like all three of our podcasts will just be their own podcast, speaking to you
Yep.
about what they do. Every so often, we might do a crossover episode like this 1% of the time if we know
Mhm.
there's going to be a certain conversation that would be beneficial to all of our audiences, right? So we're not going to do this a lot. And we thought today it would be fitting so that we could welcome our RunDot podcast audience, have them learn who Carrie is, have them learn what we're trying to do with this new show. But then, Carrie,
Yep.
you wanted the CTR audience to also kind of be aware of, hey, this is a second podcast I'm working on. If you like
Yeah.
me here, come listen to me there, correct?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So this Run.Dot will come out on Tuesday every week.
Correct.
And then See
Yeah.
Tally Run will come out on Thursday. So this Thursday, we're going to air this episode, but we're getting ready for the Twin Cities Marathon and TC 10 miles. So there's a lot happening this weekend. And we have Courtney Dualter, who's going to be on the live pod.
So excited
We're
for that.
airing. I am so super pumped. It's
Courtney
sold out
Walter.
within like, I know, 12 hours after. Over 350 people are coming. We're going to also do a shakeout run beforehand. And I think there's like 500 people that are coming to that. But that episode we will re air next week. So next Thursday, right before the Chicago Marathon. But I mean, there's so much happening in the Twin Cities this weekend.
Yeah.
We have all kinds of people coming back to race here, or else they're, some are debuting here. I mean, it's going to be a really fun weekend as always. But I think the big one is bringing home, I think she's the greatest of all time ultra runner. I mean, she still has many more years in front of her
Right,
and what
right
she's
now,
already
yes.
done.
Right now, where it
Yes.
stands,
Right.
unquestionably. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's some big legends, but she has
And
just
she's
proven
so
to be
cool.
so good.
She's so
She's
cool.
so nice, and she's from
Yeah.
right here.
Yeah.
She's
She's
from
so Minnesota
Minnesota.
cool.
Yeah, and her aunt was my PT throughout my
Really?
entire professional career. Yep, Tony
Okay.
Dualter, hi. And so,
Shout out.
yeah, like, I know, shout out, but it's gonna be a really fun weekend, and I really want you all to, whether you're a RunDot listener or a See Tally Run listener, come back and listen to this because the cool thing about Courtney is not only is she coming home, she's having a homecoming along with Ruby next weekend, my daughter. She's going to her homecoming, and it's
Shout
totally
out
different.
Ruby. Shout out to Ruby.
Yeah, shout out Ruby. But the thing about Courtney is she's coming here to run the road marathon, which she doesn't do very often. So I think the ultra runners are going to really tune in. The marathoners, the road racers are going to tune in. And obviously all of us Minnesotans are just so thrilled to have her home. So make sure you come back to see Tally Run next week.
Yeah. So crossover episode this week. Thanks for hanging with us through the what is happening. Next week. Yeah. See, I'm so excited for that See Tali Run recorded live in person at the Twin Cities
Yeah.
Marathon, and for RunDot on next week's show, which will be episode 2 of the RunDot podcast, we're gonna have Jeff Boer, the
Yeah.
CEO and founder of Predictive Fitness. So the brains behind RunDot. He's gonna come on the show to really just explain the foundations of what makes RunDot training RunDot training. I
Mhm.
could certainly speak in layman's terms about the AI and what makes the training so special right now, but I'm going to save that for Jeff next week because he does it way better and way smarter than I do. And we're just going
Great.
to talk about how RunDot is revolutionizing run training and why we believe you should be training with RunDot on next week's podcast for RunDot. So that's going to be great. Um, Carrie, before we wrap today, we've got a little bit more time. I do want our RunDot audience to get to know you a little bit.
Mhm.
And we actually
Are you sure?
recorded. I'm sure. I'm sure. We did record a Tried Out podcast episode with you because I did want our triathlete audience, who a lot of our triathlete audience also runs. I wanted them to know
Sure.
that we were going to launch a Run That podcast. I wanted them to get to know you, and you actually came on the show and gave some of your running tips. You are an
Mhm.
Olympian. You are a retired professional runner, so you do know what you're doing out there. And so you kind of gave our triathlete audience some of your race day tips, and that was so valuable and such a good conversation. But
So fun.
for our Run Dot audience, I just want them to kind of get to know a little bit about your career and kind of know they're in good hands with you as the host of our running
Mhm.
show. So just kind of share a little bit for them. When did you first discover that you were pretty good at running, and what was your
Yeah.
progression from young runner to collegiate runner to professional?
Yeah, I mean, I think I knew pretty early on that I liked to be competitive, not necessarily just in running. I mean, I was a big time basketball player and um, the running
That's like
part
my
was
worst sport.
secondary.
I'm so bad at basketball. I'm so
I loved it.
awful.
I mean, if I could have been pro at basketball, I totally would have.
Okay.
So, um, but yeah, that's where I got started in sport was just kind of running around. I think I held the longest touchdown on my um elementary school playground. So that was like, oh, if I can run and beat the boys, then
Yeah.
maybe I'm pretty good at this. So yeah, I started early and went through all my high school career and ended with the most state championships that anyone has ever acquired. And I still have that, I guess, as an individual. So that
I
was
love
like
it.
kind of an aha moment. Like, oh, if you can win back to back to back to back to back, um, you got something here. And I went out to Villanova and ran there and was had so much fun. I mean, really had a phenomenal learning experience there. Like learned how to kind of claw back to the top and go through injuries and illness and all that fun
Yeah.
stuff. Uh, then became pro, ran for Adidas for years, ran for Reebok for a little bit, went to the Olympic Games. I ran the 1500 meters in Athens in 2004. I want to say just like 2024, but I'm old.
That's okay.
And,
That's okay.
yeah, I know. And now I'm a mother of 3 and I'm a broadcaster and a podcaster and I host and MC things. I have running retreats. I'm the national fitness director for Moms on the Run. I just do a bunch of stuff in the industry, Andrew, and I absolutely love it. Like, it's so cool to be a part of the journey of athletes or just somebody getting into health and wellness. So, yeah, it's been a really fun ride.
Okay, obviously from all that, you're just proving why you're the perfect person to be in the host chair of the RunDot podcast with just your passion for the sport, all the different corners of the sport that you've been in over your career. So excited to have you kind of as the spirit guide for our running audience here at RunDot. But from all of that, I could ask you a million follow-up questions about interesting things that have happened to you through your running career, but the one that I have to ask about in our time today is the Olympics. I've been to Athens. I actually
So
raced a
cool.
half Ironman in Greece. That was a
Oh,
pretty cool racecation for my wife and I a couple years ago. We loved Athens, wonderful city. But yeah, the Olympics there in 2004. You qualified. You got to represent Team USA. You've called that a standout experience from your own professional career. What made the Olympic Games so special, and how did your racing there go for you?
it was so special. First of all, I missed the team in the 5,000 meters, which was my premier event, I guess, at that time. I don't know if that was actually my event. I probably should have been a 3,000-meter steeplechase just with my basketball background
Yeah,
and
interesting.
having that
It's
agility
funny that
and,
you're able to look back now and see that,
yeah.
right?
Well, I in my career, because the steeplechase became an official event in 2004. I think in 2000, it was still an exhibition event at the Olympics. And by 2004, I had a pretty big injury that I was running with in Athens. I had done the splits over a snowdrift and tore it's okay, I'm just gonna say it
Such a
because
Minnesota story.
we're gonna talk all about anatomy and everything while we're
Yeah,
doing these podcasts, so let's just be straight. So I
yeah.
tore my abs off my pubic bone. Okay, we just
Phew,
said it. I'm getting it out of there.
sounds
Everyone,
painful.
okay, I said pubic bone, it's okay. Anyway, it was terrible, and both adductors, which are your groin muscles, they were shredded as well. So I ran that way at the Olympic Games, 2 stress reactions on my pubic symphysis,
Unreal.
very injured in the 1,500, but the 5,000 was my main event, and I thought I could muster my way, and by the time the Olympic trials came around, I was getting kind of weak towards the end of these hard sessions, towards the end of my races. I don't think that was why I missed the games. I think I had a mental lapse, but I was severely injured. So, also, getting to the Olympic Games that way was kind of crazy, but making the Olympic team in the 1,500 was sort of like, what just happened? I mean, I was good at the 15, but not maybe as good. I had the Olympic standard in the 5,000. I had been running really well that year. Um, the 1,500 was sort of like my tune up for my 5,000-meter races.
Interesting. Yeah.
So yeah, so long story short, that's what I did at in the Olympic Games. So thankful that I tried. A lot of people wouldn't really try their second event, if that's what I can say. It was my second event or
Yeah, sure.
um, and a lot of people after disappointment of not making a team would have just been like, "It's okay. Like, I'll come back in 4 years." Well, thankfully I didn't. Just wait 4 more years. I had pneumonia 3 weeks before the Olympic trials in 2008. So just the life of an athlete, right? No matter if you're at the top of the game or you're just starting, like all of these things get in the way of really competing at your best. So you really have to celebrate the highs because there are so many times when the lows just take over or injuries or like I said, illness, all those things get in the way. And yeah, so I ran the 1,500. I was a semifinalist. I missed making the final by 2 spots. And that haunts me still every now and then in my perimenopause and menopause brain that I'm in right now. Um, I wake up in the middle of the night as most
Wake up in the middle
sure
of the
women
night, open
do.
up Wikipedia, go look at the splits.
Yeah. Yes, I'm like, "What? Oh, why did I just run?" And also, I've run 15:04 for the 5K, and it's like, "Are you kidding me? I was that close to breaking 15 minutes in those old shoes." I'm gonna just
Phew,
put that in there
that's a
too, those
great
old
point.
shoes, people.
Yeah. Those 2004
So, yeah.
shoes, ancient technology,
Yes. Yep.
ancient
But
foam.
anyway, it has been such a fun ride, Andrew. Like even the hard times or the times where you think I could have definitely squeezed out more. Like that's what makes me who I am today. And I am so thankful for this sport each and every day. Even today, I went for a 3 mile run or a 4 mile run. And I was thinking about how happy I am that I can do like 3 to 7 miles 4, 5, 6 times a week. And I hope I can do that for the rest of my life. It just lifts me up every single day.
Yeah, my brother is on staff at a church in Tampa, Florida, and he
Mhm.
and whenever he's posting on social media just about his job or work or something happening at the church, he always has the hashtag "We get to do this" because he
Yes.
just sometimes he's just expressing like and some other guys and gals on his staff kind of that's kind of their phrase, their motto they've latched onto as a team,
Oh,
and it's when you're passionate about what you do. Right? It's like, "Man, I get to do this. I get to wake up and do
yeah.
this." And, you're definitely that way about everything in your run career, and I know you get equal joy and get equally passionate about your job as a on-air talent, on-air broadcaster.
Yeah.
I again, coming from a live TV world, I love nerding out with you on just how the
Mhm.
logistics of how those broadcasts happen and what your role is, but
Yeah.
for our listeners who don't care about the nuances behind the scenes, just care about you and who you are and getting to know you. How did you get into that side of the running world?
Mhm.
And when you roll into a race weekend as a on air talent, what is your role in the broadcast?
Yeah, so normally I am a race analyst. So my role is always just to kind of analyze the race and tell the stories of the athletes who are competing. But I got into it because I had finished second one year at USA Cross Country National Championships here in, well, it was in the States, obviously, it was a national championship. But I went to school to be a broadcaster. They didn't have broadcasting as a major. So I just majored in communications with an emphasis in broadcast.
Gotcha.
So yeah, my first race as a pro, my first national meet, I was second. I said to Tony Revis, who is a huge name in the world of distance running, and he's a journalist and he's a broadcaster and he's just a brilliant man. He still is writing and doing on air gigs here and there. So I said to him, Tony, one day I want to do your job. And I just said it, just kind of tongue in cheek after my interview
Yeah.
with
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
And within like, I think 2 months, he had me on a broadcast of a rock and roll marathon, which was on national television back
So
then.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been doing it for a long time, but it was always just when it could happen when I was an
Yeah.
athlete. Like I was trying to be an athlete first. A lot of athletes back when I was racing and making pennies, right? Um, they weren't really allowed to do other things. And now you see all these amazing athletes at the top of the top that have full-time jobs or they're coaching with RunDot or TriDot or whatever, and they're still able to do it all. It was just kind of frowned upon when we were doing that. So I really didn't do much of it. But I've been loving it ever since. And I'm so thankful there's other females in the role now because there weren't a lot of females when I was starting it. And not it's not because of me, it's just because I think more people are seeing that we need females on these broadcasts. And so it's been a really cool thing to watch.
Yeah, and your, our Run audience will get to know you over time, and your See Tell Run audience that's listening today already knows you very, very well.
Yeah.
But they, again, when they're listening to your podcast, they hear you talk to the guest about the guest more than you're talking about yourself, right? So yourself isn't the main topic, and so I think it's even fun for the CTR audience to get to hear a little bit about you today, and so
Mm.
for both audiences, right? It just knowing that you're a mom with 3 kids and knowing that you've got all this going on and that you're working with us and you're podcasting, you're broadcasting, you still go for runs yourself. You still get some
Yeah.
training in, right? You're still
A
you're
little
still
bit.
staying on top of that. How do you manage all of that? 'Cause I think for all of our athletes listening, that's tricky, right? Managing career
Yeah.
with training, with family, with hobbies, with all of this. So,
Mhm.
how do you do it, Carrie?
It is so hard. I am telling you. I feel for people that are trying to juggle everything because I am. I'm definitely in that stage of life where I am juggling a ton. And in this career too, you know, when you work sort of freelance, right? You don't want to say no to anything because if you say no to one gig, then it might trickle and you might not get asked to do 5 other gigs. So
Yeah.
that's been a hard part about my career, but I really love that hustle part of it. I think that also kind of relates to being an athlete is just being daring to try, being okay with I hate the word failure, but right now it's coming to my mind. But being okay to fail or to not do quite as well and get back out there and try again. And with my kiddos, this is where I've had a lot of people say, just wait until they get into junior high and high school. And I didn't quite understand what they meant. Like I thought, when they're little, that's really hard. Like you're up at night, you're changing diapers, you're doing all that. And it is very hard. So I'm not trying to say people, Andrew, you included, that with young kids, it is not hard. It is very hard. But there's another stage that's equally as hard. And that's getting them to every activity when they can't drive and trying to get dinner on the table as a family once or twice a week. I'm telling you, like there are weeks we just don't do it. This weekend I think we had, I don't know, 6 different baseball games, 3 different football games. We had Ruby is the easy one right now. She had a long run. She had to work and she had a work meeting. I mean, it was nuts. And for me to be able to sneak out and get a 20-minute run in, that was all I could do, but
Yeah.
it was lovely.
Yep.
It was
Mhm.
lovely. So, I'm just at that stage. My husband is such an awesome team player. Charlie has just been in the role of, carry whatever you need. And that selfishly I feel like he has had to sort of take a back seat at times and let me be that one to go and shine and to go and put my career maybe not first. It's not first because his career as an
Sure.
architect is very much up there and he is very talented at what he does. But because mine is unique, my career, I think, is unique in a way that I'm traveling a lot and there's certain things you just can't say no to. Like I can't say no to the New York City Marathon right now when it is Ruby's state cross country meet. And he makes it work for all of us. Like he lifts me up in a way that he
Love
knows
it.
that I want to be in both places. And so, yeah, this I could go on and on and on about being a parent has been awesome, but it is hard. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna sugarcoat that. It's been really hard at times, but having a spouse or a partner or someone that can step in like mine has been crucial, and we just figure it out. And do I fail? You know, again, not liking that word. Heck yeah. But do you have people in your corner to get you back up and going again? They've always been there through all of it, the running, the kids, the career. So yeah,
Yep.
it's been good. I think the big thing though, because we are like anyone listening probably is training. I think I'm in that stage where my training is like eighth on the list and it
But
is
it's on
okay
there.
to do it's on there. And I do like to check it off every day or as many times a week I can. But 20-minute runs are so special. Like don't lose sight of that. Don't just be like, "Oh, I don't have time to go today." Like for me, the 20-minute run has saved my life and I do it a lot. And you can go to my Strava and see, especially when the season of crazy, broadcast starts to kick in where I'm traveling all over. You will see I do a lot of 20, maybe they're 22-minute runs now because I like to get 3 miles in, but don't neglect those short, intense runs or walks or whatever, because that just really has kept me going through life, I think.
Yeah, I in my TriDot training, twice a week, I have a 20-minute run, given to
Isn't
me
it lovely?
by TriDot. Yeah, and one of them,
Yeah.
my trying to think of the days. My Tuesday run is usually a 20-minute zone 2. So it's just easy 20
Okay.
minutes, get out the door, easy 20
Hmm.
minutes. I usually have a bike session later in the day. And then Saturday is a 20-minute off the bike run. Us triathletes, we have to do that, right? You have to train your
Yeah.
bike and then train your
Oh,
legs to run
quads
off the
are
bike.
talking.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
funny, Carrie. As a triathlete, I do like doing standalone running events as well. The first ever race I ever did
Mhm.
was a 5K, like a lot of people. Um, I really like the half marathon distance, personally. But when I go do a run only event, it is wonderful. It's like, what do you mean I don't have to take a wetsuit and goggles and a bike
Yeah.
and a helmet and bags and bags of gear and nutrition? I can just show up
Mhm.
with 2 gels, a handful of electrolyte capsules, and a handheld water bottle and running shoes, and that's all I need. It's
Yep.
wonderful to just do a run
Yep.
only event as a triathlete. So just throwing
It's
that
the
out
little
there.
things. It's kinda why I don't go and do marathons in other cities right now because it's I mean, first of all, I love the Twin Cities Marathon. It's the only one I've done. I've done it 3 times. But that's why. Like, "Oh, I don't know about the logistics of traveling and having to go and do all this right now in this time that I'm in." I think it's more fun to just do
Yeah,
my local events. There'll be a
100%.
time I think, well, I wanna do other things. But yeah, I get it. That triathlon stuff, there's a lot of gear.
Yeah, and for my wife and I, we have a 2.5-year-old at the time we're recording this.
Yeah.
She's 2.5, little Ellie, and we were married 9 years before we had her, and just kind of
Uh-huh.
took our time. And every year we would take a good trip, and we traveled. And I did half Ironman New Zealand. I did half Ironman Greece. I
So
did
cool.
I did Escape from Alcatraz in San Francisco. Like we would see the world and travel the country based on where I could also kind of tack on a race in a
Sure.
different city, right? And that was kind of our way of doing it. And once she was born, okay, she's the priority. Like there's going to
Yeah.
be other seasons to get back to that. So what am I doing? I'm
Yep.
doing my local events. My next race is a sprint triathlon next April, 6 minutes down the road. And I'm
Nice.
I'm excited about it, right? I'm excited about that.
Yep.
So yeah,
You'll
I
coast
totally get
on
you.
down maybe on your bike, or can't you do that? You have to drive the bike?
I could ride to, yeah, I could throw my gear in the
Warm
backpack
up.
and ride down there. Could absolutely do that. I might not. I
Okay.
don't know. I might. I don't know. I got time to think about it. I got
See,
time to
this is why
plan,
you
but
need me because I give you these ideas of how to logistically
it's
get
a
it
good
all
idea.
in.
Yeah, it's a
Like,
good
I wish
idea.
I could I say I should have been a professional concierge for people that and I don't know, some people say concierge, some people say concierge. I say it both ways,
I don't know
but
which is
I
right,
kinda thought I
so
should do that. Like, I could
yeah.
plan out people's lives. I can't plan my own, but I can plan others.
It's funny how that works. It's really
I
funny how that
know.
works.
You need to know how to cut time off your commute. I got ideas.
I appreciate that.
Mhm. Okay, it's another episode.
That's good. Yeah. Well, Carrie, to close us out today, um, again, big thank you to all of our C Tolly Run audience for kind of tuning in for this unconventional C Tolly Run episode. Really hope that you check Carrie out on the RunDot podcast and see what you can learn from our coaches on how to be just a stronger runner moving forward. And to our RunDotters listening today, really hope you get excited for the knowledge you're going to gain. Just kind of plugging more in with RunDot, learning RunDot so much more. I do want to say this, Carrie. We're very free flowy today. We normally we have a very specific podcast plan in front of us, and today we're just kind of like, let's get on a microphone and talk about these
Yeah.
shows. So I'm thinking about something else I did want to say about our shows. Um, we have a lot of triathletes listen to the TriDot podcast that don't train with TriDot,
Mm,
right? And I hope we'll have a lot of runners listen to the RunDot podcast that don't train with RunDot, our training app. You can. We would love for you to, obviously, but we try to make sure that a majority of the content is applicable to any runner listening to the show,
mhm.
any triathlete listening to Try Out. We try to make sure they're able to learn from what we're talking about. And
Yep.
once in a while, we'll have an episode that I call extra Tridotty or extra Run Dotty for
Okay.
the Try Dot podcast today. We're recording this on Monday, full disclosure. Monday, September 29th. The Try Dot podcast that came out today, we had my co-host Vanessa talk to one of our Try Dot coaches, and we specifically went through 6 workouts that are in the TriDot app. And that coach taught us, okay, why is this interval pattern the way that it is? What are these interval
Mhm.
patterns trying to stress in our bodies and improve our bodies for race day? And what are just the coaching tips on how to execute these workouts better? Okay, that episode is a little extra tridotty.
Sure.
And we do that from time to time, but just for I want to kind of say to all the runners listening today, you can train however you want to train and still tune in and hear Carrie talk to our coaches at RunDot and learn about the sport and learn about how to train
Mm,
for the sport and be a better runner. And if you decide to try training with RunDot along the way, obviously we'd love to have you. Well, we'll talk more about what RunDot is on other episodes, but in short, we are the most advanced form of AI generated training on the market. And I'll let Jeff kind of unpack more on why that's the case next week. Carrie, there is good AI out there and there is bad AI out there. I think we all know that. I myself, as a video creator, I see a lot of AI tools coming out and I kind of roll my eyes. Oh my gosh, this is just kind of junk AI companies trying to hop on the bandwagon and make some money off of saying we're generating an AI service. Some of it's real. Some of it is
mhm.
genuinely fantastic stuff that is based on data that is very, very helpful. And we are that. And I'll let Jeff talk more about that next week. But for all of our listeners, we hope you tune in to both shows moving forward. Meaningful conversations with Carrie on See Tell They Run, learning the sport, being coached in the sport through the Run Dot podcast. But Carrie, just to shut us down today and end me rambling, when I look back at the audio files later, I'll see long audio chunks of audio with me
No.
talking and shorter chunks of audio with you talking. Um, you have a catchphrase, a motto of sorts for See Tell They Run. Get after it.
Yeah.
Your longtime listeners
Yep.
hear you say that at least twice an episode. Uh, get after it. You tell your listeners to get after it. Just to close us today and end me talking,
Yeah.
and for our runners from RunDot and Citali Run to know what's the origin story of that? Why is that your catchphrase that you brought over to your podcasting?
Well, my sister kind of picked it out. She'd heard me say it for years as I was racing and, just kinda under my breath or whatever. You can't really say, "Let's get after it," or "Get after it," without getting excited about life, and so I've used it in my podcast, I've used it in life in general, I use it when I'm speaking, and so it just was natural. It was natural to have my podcast. We used it as the tagline or the on our shirts for my youth camps that I started in
Oh, cool.
2007. So, yeah, so get after it is, and you can't. I mean, really, as you're running, listening to us, or if you're watching us, like if you just say it after close us down, you can't say get after it. You got to be, and even if you do whisper it, it's like get after it. So when you're standing on the line like I did at the Olympic Games, I'd close my eyes, I'd say a little prayer, just be so excited, and I'd end it with, let's get after it. So let's go. Let's get after it, Pete.